My name is Krissy. I'm an improvisational surrealist. My background and education are all about math and science and music. I'm an improvisational violinist. I think that's actually my most natural talent. Like, it comes most easily to me out of all of my creative pursuits. I'm a composer. I've done some scoring for short films and stage productions. When I was a really little kid, my dad and I would doodle together in this big sketchbook that he got for me. He made up a lot of creative little games, including this one where you put the pen down and just squiggle it around without picking it up, and then you step back and take a look at what you made and try and make sense of it. It's kind of like when you lay down and look up at the sky and try and find shapes in the clouds. So, Paradigm, an Evolution Imagined, was my first solo art show, which took place the summer of 2013 at the Dunes Gallery in Washington, D.C. And it was really my first foray into improv surrealism. I wanted to approach my painting as closely as possible to the way I approach improvisational composition on the violin. So I re-employed that little game that I used to play with my dad. I didn't really have a clear idea what the theme of the show would be when I started. I just went to town doodling random squiggles and then trying to interpret them. So I would print out like one composition over and over again, and I'd reinforce the lines and shapes that I liked with a darker ink, and meanwhile I would diminish the parts of it that I thought weren't as strong in the composition. So I would do that, and then I would hone and render the shapes and the whole piece until it started presenting its narrative. So eventually, after doing that with several pieces, it became clear to me that I was channeling my deep-rooted fixation with the passage of time, and specifically in this case with evolution. When I improvise on the violin, I tend to repeat a motif or make variations on a theme just because it seems aesthetically appropriate, musically speaking. And fortunately, that tendency also came through in my improvised visual art process, and that allowed for a cohesive body of individual paintings within the series. So what am I working on now? Well, I get to teach a workshop on improvisational surrealism at the Art Enables Gallery in Washington, D.C., and that's happening on Saturday, October 12th, and I believe it's free to the public. I'll have some of the paintings from Paradigm up at Hush Gallery in my hometown of Seattle through the holidays, and I'm really excited about the new pieces that I'm working on right now. I've come up with a formula to map out a piece of music visually and then render it into a surreal three-dimensional representation on canvas. Basically, I'm writing pieces of music in conjunction with a visual counterpart in the form of a surreal painting. So I'm planning a series of these music paintings that will represent a timeline within Western American culture. Like for one pairing, the song will exemplify a prominent 1920s oral aesthetic, such as like the big band sound of brass and like kind of a radio timbre to the vocals. And the matching visual piece will highlight a 1920s visual aesthetic, representing popular fashion, home decor, etc. of the time. So when all of the work is complete, I'll have a series of paintings and a musical album to accompany it, just celebrating the evolution of Western culture through the ages. I'd love to find a gallery space that'll allow me to pipe the music through a speaker system as people are walking through the visual exhibit, just so that the audience can be immersed in the full experience. So that's me. I'm Krissy Downing. I'm an improvisational surrealist painter and musician.